students, today we are going to start the next type of tissue, that is the connective tissue. We have completed in the earlier video the epithelial tissue, which is of two types. One is the simple epithelial tissue, another one is the compound epithelial tissue. So in this video we are going to start first of all the introduction of the connective tissue, and then we will see the classification. So first of all, we should know what is connective tissue and from where it is originated. That means from which germinal layer it is originated. Okay. So first of all, just need to know, this is very much important point, that this connective tissue, this is mesodermal in origin. Okay. So if it comes to the germinal layer, then connective tissue is mesodermally originated tissue. Now the next characteristics of the connective tissue, that it is the most abundant type of tissue found in human body also. So what happens, see, if you compare the four types of tissues in the human body, we are going to have epithelial, connective, muscular and neural tissue. So from all the four types of tissues, this connective tissue is found maximum. So this is the abundant, this is the most abundant type of tissue found in the body. So this is found maximum, right? The next characteristics about the connective tissue, that this connective tissue is going to have three types of things. Earlier what we have seen in the epithelial tissue, that epithelial tissue have only the cells which have very less or no intercellular space, right? But what happened to the connective tissue, that connective tissue is made up of three components. So what are the components? See what three components form the connective tissue. First, this is cell, right? Second one, this is fiber, and the third type, that is matrix or extracellular fluid, right? If it comes to the cell, then different type of connective tissue are going to have various types of cells. I can give you the examples, like if it is come to the connective tissue proper, then plasma cell, macrophages, fibroblasts, this type of cells are present. If it is suppose blood, then RBC, WBC, platelets are present. If it is bones, then osteocytes are found. If it is cartilage, then chondrocytes are present. So various types of cells are found in different types of connective tissue. Now if it comes to the fiber, then two types of fibers are produced by one cell, that is called as fibroblast cell, as I already told you in the cell part. So what happened, that fibroblast cell produce two types of proteins. One is collagen protein and second, that is elastin protein. Collagen protein that forms a fiber that is white in color, this is unbranched and found in bundles. Next one, if it is coming to the next type of protein secreted by the that fibroblast cell, that is known as elastin protein. And this elastin protein, it secretes a type of fiber which is found individually, singly, and it is not found in bundles, it is individually present, and it is also a structure, that means it's a fiber which have a bifurcation towards the end. That means it looks like a Y-shaped structure, which is yellow in color, so that's why it is yellow fiber. So we'll come to that later on. And the matrix. So matrix is the extracellular fluid where the cells and the fibers, they are suspended. Now if it is coming to the matrix also, matrix is made up of maximum water. Along with the water, it is also going to have electrolytes, then different type of ions will be present. If it comes to the bone, then this matrix will be very much tough, which is start to have the deposition of calcium, phosphate, sulfur. Inorganic components are getting more and more, and that's why it makes the structure bone more stiff and rigid. Similarly, if you come to the extracellular matrix, if it comes to the another suppose example blood, then this extracellular fluid is nothing but the plasma where water, biomolecules and some electrolytes are present. So depending upon the matrix also, depending upon the extracellular fluid also, the type of connective tissue will vary. Okay, so that are the three important points you need to know about the connective tissue. First of all, in this part we are going to see the classification. So let us start the classification. So if it comes to the classification of connective tissue, it is very much important. See, in the epithelial tissue, if it comes in exam, then basically from the location question comes, right? If it comes to the connective tissue, classification is also important. From the classification, directly question will come. Like one example of dense connective tissue, you will be given 4 examples, and from that 4 you have to find out the correct one. So that's why classification in connective tissue is going to be very much important. So let's just start the classification. So connective tissue, I will write CT only, connective tissue. So connective tissue is broadly divided into 3 types. What are they? That is known as loose connective tissue or connective tissue proper. The second type of connective tissue is known as dense connective tissue, right? And the third type of connective tissue is known as specialized connective tissue. So connective tissue is divided into 3 types. What are they? First of all, this is loose connective tissue, where the components, they are loosely aggregated, and this loose connective tissue will have very less amount of fibers. They are not compactly present. So that's why it is a loose connective tissue. If it comes to the dense connective tissue, then the fibers are white fiber and the yellow fibers, they are compactly arranged, and that's why it is known as the dense connective tissue. And specialized is the specialized because in different concentration, in different form, it forms the specialized connective tissue. Now, once again, if it comes to the loose connective tissue, then we are going to have 2 types of loose connective tissue. What are they? First type of loose connective tissue is the areolar connective tissue, and the second one, this is known as adipose connective tissue. Further, this adipose connective tissue can be divided into 2 types. One is white adipose, another is the brown adipose, depending upon just the color and presence in individual. Like if it comes to the babies, then the babies will have brown adipose, and in case of the adult individuals, human, we are going to have the white adipose, right? We will come to that. Now come to the dense connective tissue. This dense connective tissue will be also of 2 types, right? So what are the 2 types of dense connective tissue? First type of connective tissue is the irregular dense connective tissue, where the fibers, the white fiber will not found in any pattern. They will be irregularly present. That is known as irregular dense connective tissue. And the second one, that is known as the regular dense connective tissue. So that regular dense connective tissue, here we will see a pattern formed by the different type of fibers. If it is white, also found in a pattern, and if it is yellow also, they will be present in a pattern. So that is known as the regular dense connective tissue. But yes, this regular dense connective tissue can be further divided into 2 types. One is known as tendon, and the second one is known as the ligament, right? So never think that this tendon and the ligament, they are some type of bony structures. No, it is not a type of skeletal structure. It is one type of dense connective tissue where the cells are present or compactly arranged. Okay. Now see the tendons and the ligaments, the location where it is found, right? One thing you have to remember, if it comes to the tendon, then in between bone and the skeletal muscle, we are going to have the tendon, right? And in between 2 bones will be connected to each other by a structure, dense connective tissue, that is known as the ligament, right? So remember this way, that in between bone and muscle, we are going to have tendon, and in between two bones we are going to have the ligament. That means bone to bone. Remember this way, that BMT, that means bone to skeletal muscle we have tendon, and in between two bones we have ligament. BMT and BBL, right? BMT, T for tendon, BBL, L for ligament. So these are the two type of regular connective tissue. Regular dense connective tissue, they are known as tendon and ligament. In between bone and the skeletal muscle we have tendon, and in between two bones we are going to have a ligament, right? Now come to the last type of connective tissue, that is known as specialized connective tissue. So the specialized connective tissue can be divided broadly into two types. We can have the reticulate type of connective tissue also, that will come to the next part. We will see separately, but broadly specialized connective tissue is of two types, right? What are they? First one, this is known as the skeletal type of connective tissue, right? One is the skeletal, and next one, that is the fluid, right? So skeletal connective tissue is one type of specialized connective tissue. Never think that that skeletal type of connective tissue is a type of dense connective tissue. No, dense connective tissue will be tendon ligament, but skeletal connective tissue will be a specialized connective tissue, right? Remember that. Now the skeletal connective tissue can be further divided into two types, right? What are they? First one, this is known as bone. Okay, first type of skeletal connective tissue is bone, and the second one, that is cartilage, right? So bone and cartilage, these are the two type of skeletal specialized type of connective tissue. Now these bones can be further divided into two type. What are they? In the bone we are going to see two type of bones. One is the compact bone, right, and another one is known as conciliated or spongy type of bone, right? Next one, if it comes to the cartilages can be of three types, right? What are the three types of cartilages? We will see that cartilages are further divided into three types. Okay, the first type of cartilage is known as hyaline cartilage or hyaline cartilage. Second type, this is known as the fibrous cartilage, and the third type of cartilage is known as calcified type of cartilage. Three types of cartilages we'll see: hyaline, fibrous and calcified. And that fibrous cartilage can be also divided further into two types depending upon the type of fiber. If it is the white fiber, that means made up of collagen, then it is white fibrous cartilage, and second type, that will be known as the yellow type of fibrous cartilage, right? So we have two type of fibrous cartilage, white and yellow, depending upon the type of fiber. So cartilage can be of three types: hyaline cartilage, fibrous cartilage and calcified cartilage, where hyaline cartilage is the very important. Just remember this point. This hyaline cartilage is the transparent tissue of our body. Okay, remember that. Now next come to the fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue can be divided into two types. One is the blood. Okay, first one is the blood, and second one, that is the lymph. Okay, so blood and lymph, these are the two type of fluid connective tissue. Blood, where we can see the cells. Cells are of three types: the RBCs, WBCs and platelets. And the liquid component of the blood is known as plasma. So that part we will come later. Next one, if it is coming to the lymph is nothing but one type of fluid. That fluid actually form in the tissues in between the cells. We are going to see a type of liquid, extracellular fluid, which have maximum WBCs provided with some liquid with very less proteins. They are known as that liquid is known as lymph. Lymph acts as a middleman, or it is a mediator who help in transporting the waste material and carbon dioxide from the tissues, and it will carry to the blood. Right? So that is known as the lymph. So fluid connective tissue can be divided into two types, blood and lymph. So this is about the classification. We are going to have the three type of connective tissue proper, then dense connective tissue and specialized connective tissue. This dense connective tissue, which is divided into two type, areolar and adipose. In the next video, we will start the first type of connective tissue, that will be loose connective tissue. Till now, this is about the classification. Hope you have understood. Thank you.